Billy Goldsmith, welcome to the podcast.
Thanks, mate. Thanks for having me on.
Mate, good to have you on. Plenty for us to talk about. Before we get started, can you give the guys a 60 to 90 second spiel of your world and what's got you to where you are now?
I'm Bill Goldsmith. I am 35 years old. You may or may not remember me from The Bachelorette 4 years ago now, and then Bachelor in Paradise, which was 2 seasons ago now. I've obviously went through the whole experience of reality TV. I wanted to get out of Melbourne, so I trusted my gut, I guess, and I bought a house up in Burleigh Waters, December 2019, and then obviously COVID happened, packed up my stuff, moved, and currently living up in Burleigh Waters and onto my second house renovation, which is something I really love. I guess it's my creative outlet. I've been running. There's a big, strong running community up here. So yeah, I've been running. I've got a bit of a run streak going. So it's just keeping me, keeping me in check, and so hopefully inspiring some other people to get out there and move their bodies.
Mate, good intro. And having observed you, I think we met, maybe 4 years ago when you were in the peak of the reality show, and obviously spending some time with you recently, things have changed. What for you has changed? Obviously, you moved to Goldie, which was a piece, and some people, as an observer of you, might notice that things have changed a fair bit for you over the last few years. What for you on the inside's changed, do you think?
Well, to be fair, when I caught up with you after that long gap and we reminisced about when we met, I had a bit of a think about it, and I think back on that time, and I hate the person I was then. I was just caught up in all the drama, the bullshit, the ego that goes with the reality TV and the lies and all that. I guess through hardship, and I honestly really struggled post the TV show. I'm pretty confident in who I am as a person, but it's pretty hard to get the media and Daily Mail and all sorts of other so-called journalists write rubbish about you and sort of rub your name through the mud a little bit. I sort of got out of the big city of Melbourne, made the move up to Queensland. Obviously, that's not easy. There's a few weeks there I struggled really bad when I first moved here. I was like, I don't really know where I fit in. And I guess throughout my whole life, I feel like I've been pretty different to the norm. I've seen the rat race and what they teach at school to just work the 9 to 5, and I've never been about that. Obviously, there's parts of your life where you have to just suck it up and do it, but you always have to have a game plan to get out and have a bit more freedom with your time. So yeah, I don't know if that answers your question. I think I went off on a tangent.
Oh, mate, I love it. What, you mentioned hardship and feeling different to the norm, which we'll definitely tie those into. With the circus that is reality TV and even social media, what was there like a single moment that you're like, this is bullshit, this life that I'm living, or was it the accumulation, or what was that moment where you're like, fuck, I've got to get out of Melbourne and change things?
I struggled. So post the show, I struggled really bad. I was seeing a psychologist, speaking to them. And one of the best things, a bit of advice they said to me was, Bill, if you want your life to go back to how it was before you did the TV show, go back to hanging out with the people that you hung out with. So I made a conscious effort to cut pretty much all communication with anyone that I did the show with, or the production, or anyone, because I found every time you caught up, that's all you talk about. And it ends up consuming your life. The ego, the I'm a bit better than I really am just because I did this experience, all that sort of stuff. And I just wasn't about that. And I could see it for what it was. It was an experience. You do the experience, you go back to your normal life. You try to. Some people obviously try and monetize it and do whatever, but it's like, I just really wanted to put that past me and just move on. And obviously living in a big city, I was down living on Chapel Street for like 6 years. You're surrounded by it. it's a weird thing of going out. I was going out every weekend. I was drinking, I was partying. I was, as I said, acting like a bit of a tool. And I look back on the person I was then, and I guess I'm not ashamed, but I just look back and I'm like, what an idiot. Like, yeah. And it's where I'm at now is where I'm meant to be. I love it up in the Gold Coast, laid back. People live more. It's not a hustle culture. It's like about connecting with each other, heaps of community groups, the ocean, the earth, the hinterland, connect with yourself, all that sort of stuff.
When you're in it, I'm not sure if this resonates, but having been around a lot of people that had that as their world, or even had that as their world previously, when you're in it, it's hard to notice that you're in it. Was there a moment for you, was it completely separating yourself from it in terms of moving to Goldie to be able to look back at it? Or was there moments in Melbourne where you're like, fuck, I'm in the middle of a circus, like I need to get out of it? It's so hard to see it when you're in it for a lot of people. What was required from you to be able to see, fuck, that version of me isn't great, and that's an absolute circus that's going on?
Looking back now, I can see that version of me was just a shit human. But I was kind of aware that, hey, it was just an experience. I said it the whole time, but you get caught up in it. You're not human unless you don't, like, you're not a human being unless you get caught up in it. And it's like, I was trying to detach myself. Obviously, I speak to a psychologist a couple of times a week. I detached myself from the people that did the show. And then I guess the final sort of big move to really separate was to move out of Melbourne up to the Gold Coast, and just get away from it all. But in saying that, when I first moved to the Gold Coast, a couple of the only people I knew from up here were from reality TV. So I did, again, when you move somewhere, you don't know many people. I did hang out with them at the start, and then I was just like, I need to fully detach myself.
What is it that you obviously mentioned a couple of times that you were speaking to a psych post the show? What was it that you were struggling with, or what was it that you needed kind of support with?
The lies. Who to trust, what was real, what wasn't real. I finished the second show, Bachelor in Paradise, with a girl, and I can see that it's holiday romance. It's conducive to getting feelings. I had genuine feelings for her. I came back and she set up pap shots behind my back. She compulsively lied to me. I was just like, I still don't know, but I just was trying to get some answers of like what was real, what wasn't real. And it turned me crazy, to be honest. And it was like, as I said, I'll never know what was real, what wasn't real, how it was for her side. All I know is how it was for me, and it sucked. I struggled so hard because, as I said, I had genuine feelings. You're meant to have a 5-month relationship behind closed doors, and you can't even go down the shops, can't go get a coffee, you can't do the little things that are sort of what makes a relationship. So it was like so hard. And then obviously I don't even know what's real to this day. I don't know what was real, what wasn't. All I know is that things didn't add up, and after a while I found out and worked out that a lot of the stuff she was saying was a lie. And I was just like, I can't do this anymore.
Understandably. How does that sit with you now? Is that what, 2.5 years ago? Like, because I can only imagine that when you're struggling to dissect what's real and what's not, that can also start to challenge your confidence a little bit in terms of like your own sense of self and going, fuck, like, is this even real? Whether that's friendships, relationships, like just life in general. How do you think that's impacted you, and how do you navigate that now, albeit you're obviously in a different world, so there should be less of that carry on, but like, how have you had to navigate that yourself over the last couple of years?
Yeah, it was hard. I literally, from that experience, I questioned everything. Friends, like, I guess when you put in the limelight and people just want to most of the people just want to leverage off you. Most people want you to promote their startup brand or do this or do that, do a photo shoot for them or whatever. And it's just like, yeah, you question everything. What's real? What's not? And it's like, you can only really go back to the people that you've had friendships and relationships with for like years. The ones that have been there from the start. Yeah. And obviously going through hardship, I connected with some of my longtime friends on a deeper level because I was very vulnerable with them. One of my good mates was going through a really messy divorce at the time as well. And I feel like that made our relationship even stronger and deeper because we relied on each other so much. I'd have him calling me up in tears. He'd have me calling him up in tears, and we'd just give each other advice. And yeah, to this day, he's still one of my best mates. And it's, as I said, it progressed our relationship further because we were so vulnerable with each other because we were just struggling so much through our own different battles.
What does that look like for you now? Do you find yourself with any residue of that concern around people's intentions? Again, having been around a lot of people in a similar boat to you, there's still for them, whether they're in the limelight or not, there's still a sense of paranoia for some of them around like, what's this person's intention? Do I truly trust that this is real? Do you find yourself with any residue when it comes to like meeting new people or friendships or anything like that now?
I don't know. It's a hard question because since doing that experience, I've done a lot of work on myself, read a lot of books, done Vipassana meditation, which we spoke about, done ayahuasca, done all sorts of different things just to sort of get to know who I am a bit better, be in tune with me and who I am. And I feel like I'm a pretty good judge of people when I first meet them. Obviously being around a lot of people, there's a few red flags and telltale things that you can just see straight away. But my circle's very small, but the ones I care about, I really care about. And it's like, that's how I want it to be. It doesn't really faze me that I don't have 100 friends.
Yeah.
That's all good. It's the quality over quantity, but it's like with those quality few, I'd really trust them. And I don't think there's any residue carried forward from that experience, but yeah, I've always got my guard up with people I new people I meet and things like that.
What is it that you look for, again, as an observer of your work over the last kind of 6 months in particular, and having a lot of mutual friends and then obviously having caught up a couple of times, what is it that you wanted when you moved to Goldie in terms of friendship? Because I know you talk about obviously running a lot, community being important to you, and obviously, parting ways with that old life. What is it that you're seeking and wanting to create now?
I guess now I'd like to create a community of like-minded people. So I always ask people when I meet them, what's the dream? What's your dream? Like the working for money, doing all that, what does it all mean? It means nothing. You have to do it. It's a stepping stone to obviously something. And I always ask, what's the dream? And someone asked me that recently, what's my dream? I feel like my dream is to have small group of people that I really trust and value and connect with, buy a block of land, organic veggies, use my hands, work the land, have animals, just connect. It's all about connection. And it's like, I'm a big believer that your purpose, we all need a purpose, is what you can give back to humanity. What can you do for someone else? And I've tried in the last 6 to 12 months, I've tried mentoring programs and all that, but it's all government funded. There's all red tape. And obviously, my stance on that. And it's like, it's so hard to give back. I would do it as a volunteer. I don't care about getting paid 15, 20 hours a week, give back to younger kids. I feel like for generations, the knowledge has been passed down from elders to the youngsters. I'm not saying I'm an elder, but I've had some life experience, more life experience than some young kids. And I've been very privileged with a great upbringing. Parents are still married, 4 kids, chaotic, big family, different personalities, all that. And I'd love to give back to someone who's a bit more underprivileged and wants some guidance, I guess. And it's like, I know it's not going to be like that forever, but at the moment, it's just too much red tape to get involved to do that.
Mate, you and I both feel exactly the same about the red tape and the carry on that happens there. When you moved to Goldie, obviously you were looking for a fresh start, and from what I hear, a new community. What else did you want and do you want? I know connection and community are big for you, and you found a way to tie that into your health with running, what are you, 14 months straight or something like that now?
400 and, I'll have to look, but 460 odd days.
Yeah, so 14,
So,
15,
yeah,
14, 15 months.
15 months, yeah.
What is it that you were looking for, and what are you still looking for with your world now?
Well, in terms of the running thing, that all came about. I'd gone through a shitty breakup. My parents were here visiting. They were up north in Agnes Waters. I went up there for a couple of weeks just to spend some time with them. And there was no gyms there. Or I didn't really look too hard, but there was no gym where they were staying or whatever. And so I just went for a run. And at the time, one of my mutual friends, Mitch Orville, was doing 3K a day for 365 days. And I was like, maybe I'll do that. Maybe I'll challenge myself to something like that. And I just kept running. I started off 3K a day, transitioned. Obviously, your body adapts and changes to 5K a day. And then I think last year I averaged like 11.3K a day. But that obviously got bumped up with our mutual friend Jordan doing 33 marathons in 33 days. So jumping in for a few of them with him, obviously pumped the mileage up. But yeah, I feel like in the last 12 to 18 months, I guess I've really focused on my health, because it's like what we eat, what we see, what we read, what energy we take on all affects our health. And health is everything. Money doesn't mean shit if you're sick. It's like, I guarantee you, if you ask all the billionaires that are on their hospital bed, deathbed, what they'd want with all their money, it'd be good health. So it's like I gave up drinking. The whole Western culture, I feel like, well, Aussie culture for me, there is no real culture. It revolves around sport, drinking, gambling, and racism, to be honest. And I don't want to be a part of that. And a lot of people get caught up in it. I've played years of local footy. That's the culture. We're going for a punt this weekend. We're getting on the beers, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, no wonder we're all sick. No wonder people are dying. I saw a video the other day where a guy was talking in America, was talking about, why don't they pronounce people dead? They died from a lifestyle choice, not cancer, not whatever, blah, 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 but directly from a lifestyle choice. Why don't they say that? Because people might actually listen and change their lifestyle.
Yeah.
It's like, lifestyle is everything. Get enough. It's so simple. Get enough sleep, drink plenty of good quality water, eat. I try and eat whole food. So as natural as they come in the environment. So least processed as possible, and just mindfully, I guess.
Did you find, I think a lot of people will resonate with your part around separating yourself. And again, there's no right or wrong. There's just like-minded. But a lot of people will resonate with your piece around separating themselves from people and environments that aren't potentially conducive to the direction that they want to head. And I think one of the challenges for a lot of people is they stay in that environment because they don't know where to go next. It's almost like the monkey bar. You want to swing to the next one, while you're in the other one. Was that a case for you of letting go of everything to create something new, or did you find that kind of open up pretty easy for you, this new way of living and the people that are obviously more conducive to health and the way that you want to live? Was that hard to let go of the old life for you, or you didn't find it too challenging?
I started running, and the start of this year, so nearly 12 months ago, I'd let go of a whole friendship group.
Mm.
One of the guys I went to school with back in Melbourne lives up here. He was awesome. When I first moved here, introduced me to people, but all they want to do is get drunk Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday.
Mm.
And I partook in that obviously at the start, and then obviously starting the running journey, focusing on health more, I just stopped saying yes to going to things and sort of transitioned from that group into more health conscious people, I guess, through running groups, through mutual friends, through just connecting with people. Yeah, so I didn't find it too hard to actually transition. And I'm as you said, it's like environment's everything. Who you surround yourself with is everything. And I remember at the start, I surrounded myself with people that were doing 160K ultra marathons and stuff. And that just blew my mind. And it's like, as they say, if you want to get better at something, surround yourself with people who are better at you, who are better at you at it. And they'll show you what it takes. I haven't ran 160K yet. I haven't even ran 100K, but it's like, they just show you what goes into it, from nutrition to recovery to the training that they do, the weights, everything. For something like that, even an amateur, it takes a fair bit of time, effort, and energy put into it to be able to put your body through something like that. As I said, I was really fortunate that the Gold Coast has a lot of, I think someone told me there's like 320 run clubs on the Gold Coast.
Yeah, right.
Which is staggering to hear.
Yeah.
Yeah, whereas like if you go to Melbourne, there's run clubs, but it's like, I think they would all mostly revolve around a running track, not just let's meet at a coffee store or wherever and go for a run and get a coffee after. There's countless clubs to choose from, different groups to connect with. So yeah, in that regard, it was quite easy, to be honest.
How did you see I guess the before and after when it comes to kind of reality TV? Because it is a interesting thing that people strive for, you know, and obviously for a lot of people at a really young age, and they're brought up, you know, in particular, the kind of generation that are coming through now is like that becomes the ultimate goal for some people, to be famous, to be on a reality TV show. How was your perception of that world before, and how do you see it potentially different now?
Yeah, it's a funny world we live in where people strive to be famous. Because when you're famous, you can't do the normal things. You can't go down the grocery store. You can't just go get a coffee. You can't live a normal life, yet people still strive to want to be famous. And to me now, I'm like, why? They're not necessarily happy. And if they are happy, it's probably not because they're famous. It's because they've got other lifestyle things and things to do with their life, the connections they have, the meaning they have, the purpose they have. It's nothing to do with fame. And I think the whole famous thing, and that is a goal for a lot of people, stems from social media. People live and die by the likes and the dopamine hits that they get. And it's like, it'd be an interesting question to ask a lot of people, like, would you still go on that hike if there wasn't a photo at the end and likes and shares or whatever associated with the photo to make yourself feel good? Would you still do it? I don't reckon many people would still do it. And it's like, it's a crazy world we're living in if people are living their life and their lifestyle for social media. And so many people are. And it's like, it's scary. I've just read a book called Stolen Focus by Johan Hari.
So good.
And it's like, the world's speeding up. We get bombarded with more and more information. And it's like, to make any change within yourself or lifestyle or whatever, you need stillness. You need stillness to process things. You need stillness through walking out in nature, through meditating, through whatever, to work out things, let your mind process things, and then work out what's right and good for you and what's not, and then make changes and really make them. So it's like, it was a good reminder. I've just finished it literally 2 nights ago, and it's like, social media is fucked. So it's like we're all addicted to it.
Mm.
I had a conversation with my housemate. I've been an avid reader for the last probably 3 to 4 years, and I still find myself. I'll read a chapter. I'll get to the end of the chapter, and I'll check my phone. Why do we do that? And it's like I'm conscious of it, and I still do it.
Mm.
He's like, yeah, bro, I do that all the time. I finish a page and I check my phone. And it's crazy that we're conscious of it, yet we still do it, which means we are 100% addicted. The next 10, 15 years is a scary world.
Yeah,
Who knows where it's going to go?
It's a strong drug. It's a very strong drug. What do you, I know for you, you mentioned a couple of times that going on those shows was an experience for you that you kind of wanted to tick. A few years on now and having an opportunity to kind of reflect back, and obviously having done some work with psychologists and Vipassana and Aya, which will often bring to light some deeper stuff. Is there anything else that you feel like you might have been seeking that you're hoping to have fulfilled through reality TV or through the kind of significance that comes with being a profile?
To be true, not really. I honestly had an Instagram account the start of 2019. I made an Instagram account and I didn't really know how it worked. And July of that year, I went on reality TV. So there's no way I did it to become an influencer, to do all that. I didn't even know how it all worked or anything like that. And obviously post, you get thrust into it. And yeah, it took me 12 months post the show to work out how it all worked, to be honest. And it's like, if I had my time again, I would have charged people way more money, more money for promoting their stuff. And it's like, but it's just a learning experience. I can't change it, obviously. And it's like, I feel like the transition of Instagram for me was thrown into the deep end, learned, got sucked in, addicted. Now I just step right back. I post a few things, but I always like, you always question, like, why am I posting this? It's like a beautiful sunrise. Why am I posting this? Like, it doesn't really matter, does it? Or a nice cup of coffee at a cafe. It's like, we're all kind of just been conditioned a little bit to hey, look how good my life is. And not necessarily is good. And it's like, I feel like you're kind of lying to yourself a little bit if you're promoting that your life's really good when behind closed doors you're miserable, depressed, unhappy, or whatever. So it's yeah, I feel like, I don't know if I spoke to you about it, but post the Vipassana, the biggest thing I took out of that was no more lies. Lie to ourselves with white lie to friends and family. And it's just like, why do we lie? And it's like, when your head hits the pillow at night, you replay some conversations you had throughout the day and you're like, why did I lie? It doesn't mean anything. Like, it's a white lie. Like, what do you have for dinner? And you'd say something different because you say something healthier because you're trying to uphold that you're got a healthy lifestyle, and you might have had pizza or something. But who cares? You're allowed to have pizza. No one saying you're not allowed to do that, but we do it. And you're just like, why? Why do we do that? It's just a crazy thing.
When you think about that for yourself, and fuck, it's a slippery slope when you start lying and then it just kind of builds on top of each other. When you think about it for yourself, and I think exactly as you said, we kind of all lie to some degree. What do you think it was that you were lying for? And you might have even mentioned it there, to uphold an image or an identity of self. Is that kind of how you see a lot of those little white lies that you potentially may have done in the past?
Yeah, I feel like it's all related back to social media and living the life, the online life. So the online life you portray through your profile or whatever, or the niche that you're in. And it's like, in your real life, you kind of have to uphold, you feel like you have to uphold that image and that lifestyle. when in reality, we're human beings.
Mm.
You should be able to do whatever you want, whenever you want, as long as it doesn't affect anyone else negatively.
Yeah.
And it's like, yeah, it's such a weird thing. And it's like, post doing that, the experience of Vipassana, I was very conscious of it, and I just kept catching myself. I'm like, why am I doing this? And I'm like having a conversation, and I'd say something, and then the conversation would go on, and then I'd be like, hold on a sec. I'm sorry, I was dishonest about what we said earlier. And I pull myself up, and it feels gratifying because you are being the most authentic version of yourself, because you're telling the absolute truth. You're telling your truth. And it's like, it's a good feeling knowing that you're being authentic. It's knowing that if you've lied to someone, you don't have to, whenever you see them, go, oh, fuck, what was the lie that I told them? I got to remind myself so I don't get caught out and things like that. And it's like, if you're 100% honest with you and who you are and your version of things, you got nothing to worry about. Like, if people get the shits or whatever, that's what they're going through. That's a reflection of what's happening with them, as long as it's the truth. And obviously 2 people can do the same experience and have 2 different truths and stuff, but it's like, that's your truth. So it's like, you're not being a bad person or unauthentic by just saying your truth.
What did you mentioned earlier and obviously Vipassana a couple of times there. What were the main takeaways for you through those? And is there any other plant medicine or any other kind of modalities that have been helpful for you over the last couple of years as you've separated yourself from that old world and kind of come back to self more?
Yeah, the IR was full on. And I kind of went and did it for a bit of guidance, which might be right or wrong. And I feel like I left with the message saying it's okay not to know and just trust the process. Because what came up was a lot of mumble jumble. One of my good friends I did it with, it was his 7th ayahuasca, and he could distinguish what the plant medicine was saying to him really, really clearly. And I was like, why can't I work it out? And it's like, it took a few weeks to digest it all. And then I was just like, you know what? It's okay not to know. Just know that you're in the right place at this moment in time, and everything will unfold how it's meant to unfold. And that was the biggest takeaway from that. Obviously, the Vipassana, I didn't really do much research on that. I just went in there, and it's a lot of sitting.
Massive.
Yeah. And I feel like that one of the biggest, most powerful things is no talking. No distractions, no talking. You're forced to go within. You're forced to face traumas, things that, whatever comes up, you're there to face. You got no screens to look at. You got nothing. And I don't know. I had this I had this magical experience when I was doing it. I walked out of one of the meditations, and I just felt connected to everything. And there was I don't know what the collective now for kangaroos is, but a pod or a group of kangaroos laying in, how they lay on the side in the sun.
Yeah.
And I just walked out there, and because of the property we're on, they were very tame. I just laid down with them, and I'm like, I am you. You're me. We are so connected right now. And it was this crazy moment in time. And it was like, this is how it's meant to be. We're all doing things, we're all coexisting on this planet together. And it's like, why do we shoot you? Why do we kill you? Like, why do we do that sort of stuff? And it was, that was actually fucking awesome experience. That little takeaway. Obviously, the whole experience was awesome. A lot of no talking. Since the show, I've done mushrooms a couple of times. And I feel like I just get called to do it when I feel like I feel like doing magic mushrooms just reconnects me with everything. Reconnects me with nature, reconnects me with the people around me, reconnects me with myself, I guess.
What are you, having been through that and obviously in a very different spot now, if someone, we'll say younger, but it doesn't necessarily have to be, is considering going on a show or really has this goal of being quote unquote famous, whatever that even means, what's advice, good, bad, ugly, and indifferent, of your experience and I guess how you see that whole thing now?
I would ask them, what's their why? Why are you doing it? What's the reason for doing it? And whatever their why is, you go from there. If it's just for the experience, hey, go do the experience. But that's in your head, that's all it is an experience. Get famous. I don't know. It's a funny thing because when you sign up for it and you go to the audition and you get through, they put you on a pedestal. They make you feel really good. They play to your ego. They make you go, oh, this is going to be a great experience, positive. Like, I've read that people from TV shows have now got radio gigs, jobs in the media, earning all this money. And you think, oh, why can't that be me? This is going to be a positive, great experience. But at the end of the day, they need to make a reality TV show. So they need their characters. They need the villain. They need the person who gets their heart broken. They need whatever. And there's hours and hours of footage that doesn't get shown. And I know for a fact there's a storyline producer. So there's a producer whose job it is to work out who's what character and how the storyline's going to work. And that's not in your hands. That's up to them. And I feel like, looking back now, they ask you in the audition for what character they want you to be through whatever means they have. They know a lot about you that you don't realize. And yeah, they go, all right, yeah, he'd be the perfect villain. Yeah, he'd be the perfect one to fall in love. Like, and it's like that from the start. But it's like, yeah, the biggest thing I would say is like, why do you want to be famous? Why do you want to do reality TV? Yeah. And that sort of determines where it goes.
Mate, it's been good chatting, and I'm stoked that we've come into each other's world over kind of the last, over 6 months, and looking forward to kind of more catch-ups in 2023. For those that want to, ironically, find you, where's the best spot for them to find you?
I guess my only social media platform is Instagram, and as I said, I don't post that much, but it's my full name, bill.michael.goldsmith.
Yeah, and it's I mean, the running and the community and everything, it's good, and exactly as you said, you use that this stage and these days more as a source of inspiration to hopefully help people than the highlights reel of your life. So it's worth considering as well.
On that too, I was posting every day of my runs, and it was like, at the start, it was like, yeah, it's going to keep myself accountable because you're promoting it to the world of social media and to inspire some people, obviously, to see the consistency and all that. And it got to a point where I caught myself posting for like some self-love, for like some like, oh, way to go, Bill, you're awesome, blah, blah, blah. And so I called myself out on that, and I said, hey, look, I'm starting to post the wrong reasons. I'm going to pull back on it. So now I don't post every day. I just, whenever it pops in my mind, I do it. But it's like, there's a why with everything. Why are you taking a photo of your coffee? Why are you posting this? Why? And it's like, yeah, you got to be, I feel like you don't have to be, but it's better to be conscious of like why you're doing certain things. What's the messaging behind it, and the actual, why you're doing it.
And then make a decision whether you still want to do it or not. At least you know your why.
Yeah, because it's like, if you can associate your why of what you're posting or doing or acting, and if it doesn't align with who you want to be and it's not authentic to you, then I wouldn't be doing it. It's a bit of a lie. Not a verbal lie, but it's like a lie that your life's really good when it's shit. Yeah. And as I feel like through the tough times, humans want to help one another. So if you are vulnerable and you put your hand up, you go, you know what, I'm not quite right. People want to help you. And it's not just a one-way street, because people get great satisfaction and meaning and purpose from helping someone else. So it's like, it's not just oh, I'm a burden on someone because I'm struggling. It's no, you connect on a deeper level. You're vulnerable with each other. They get something out of helping you. You get helped, and you move on, and then you remember it. And if they're ever in need, you return the favor, and that's just how it should be.
Mate, I love it. Thank you for coming on for the chat, and stoked to see the transformation of you over the last couple of years in particular.
Sweet, brother. Thanks for having me.